Well, hello once again and welcome to the Mansfield Matters podcast, the only show on the internet, on the radio, 100,000,000% dedicated to Mansfield Town FC, probably. Today we've had a bit of a change of location. As you can see, if you're watching the video version on YouTube or on Facebook, we're actually at Berry Hill Park, which is just around the corner from my house, and because it's absolutely hammering it down with rain, I think that's probably a good thing. We're sat under a nice umbrella, and we're back to the full quota of four, the fantastic four. We've got Cam Felton,
hello.
We've got Mark Plum, and we've got European blind football bronze medalist, Mr. Nathan Edge. A round of applause for Nathan. Before we get started, obviously, before we talk Stags, let's talk Euros. You've got the medal around your neck. What was it like out there? Obviously, you were representing Mansfield Town because you had the bright yellow trainers on there, which nobody could miss. And you know, what was the experience like? Because I imagine, you know, I can only dream of pulling on a Stag shirt, let alone an England shirt to play a competitive game. So
I think it was. I was very nervous being out there. I got the last minute call up a couple of weeks before, and I really didn't expect to be playing for England, especially at a major tournament like that. So obviously there's a lot of nerves there, but when I stepped on that pitch to make my debut against Romania, it was just that pride as well to put on that shirt. It just felt so good to be out there, and you know, I've now come back with 5 caps and a medal, and it's more than what I expected, to be fair. So I think it's still not really sank in. I've only been back for a couple of days, and I've tried to reflect over the tournament. I don't know how many people watched it at home, but we got all the way to the semi-finals and we got knocked out so cruelly with an own goal with 12 seconds left on the clock, and that was very, very difficult to take, especially for the boys who, you know, have been as a unit for a long time, and that really hurt us, that did. But to bounce back and get a 2-0 win against France in the third playoff final was it just, at least we left on a high, and that's all I can think, and come back with a bronze, and I'm very happy with that.
And in some ways it was almost typical England, wasn't it, beating on penalties?
Yeah, I feel like as soon as it went to penalties, I think we knew what was going to happen, because we're not, you know, like any England team, whether it's men's, women's, CP, or, you know, obviously like us blind, Spain was always going to be the favourites then, weren't they? Like I said, that was a disappointing factor. We got knocked out on penalties a couple of years early in 2015 when we had the Euros in our home nation, and that hurt them. And I'd probably say this hurt just as much, down to the circumstance with the late goal and giving up a 2-0 lead. I think that was the hardest thing to take. Yeah, certainly so. And just finally on the England thing, of course, it did go to penalties, but you didn't get round to take one. Was your name on the list? No, we had our 4 penalty takers, because you can only name so many. So, and that was going to be the boys who have been in the squad for a long time. So, and to be fair, when it was so much line on the penalties, I don't think I was too brave enough to step up for that one. But you know, like I say, we was unlucky. But at least we went into that France game and did the job that we needed to do. Even though I think by then we all just wanted to get home and see our family, but we did the job, and I'm happy with the bronze. And we can't not touch upon it, of course. You did nearly score. Would there have been a Mansfield Town themed celebration? One of your teammates did the famous forward roll into a player as well.
Into a player as well, which was typical. I think that typified blind football, didn't it?
He got told off for that afterwards. So that could have been a red card offence. That could have.
Really?
It could have. Yeah. Well, you're not in control of your body, are you? So if you injure another opposition player just by celebrating, it could have been a red card. So it doesn't matter if you're blind or not. You know, you still got the same rules in that aspect. But
would there have been a Stag celebration?
I couldn't really think of a Stag celebration. To be honest, I never.
You've got the tattoo on your arm?
Then? Yeah, that could have been. I could have pulled that out.
Ripped the shirt off and. Actually, no.
To be honest, I never expected. I never expected to really be in a goal scoring opportunity. I thought I was going to be a backman most of the time, but no, the Italy game, the manager told me I'm going up front, and we knew with the circumstances the Italian fence was a bit disjointed at that point, and I knew I was going to get a couple of chances there, and I did, and unfortunately it was a good save by the keeper. And to be honest, my celebration, it was going to be a Robin Hood shooting the barrow. So I thought shooting a bow and arrow. Well, that's probably at least something relative. Nottinghamshire. I thought that's the best thing I could really think of. But like I said, I'm gutted I didn't put one away. I think that would have topped it off for me if I managed to stick one past Italy, especially when 2 minutes later I was through on goal and the referee blew full time. That was I wasn't going to miss again. Trust me, I was going to hit that as hard as I could, and if I hit the keeper, hopefully the keeper would have gone in the net with the ball. But you know, I'm overall I'm happy with my own performance. I came on, I played more than what I expected. Romania game I had a good 30 minutes, which is 3/4 of the game. Played a lot against France, and obviously I played in the big game against Germany when we knocked them out of the European Championships on the home ground.
And for anyone that watched, it wasn't just them who got knocked out, it was nearly at a player when you went in for a 2-footed challenge, so it's nice to see you keeping.
You've got to do it, haven't you?
Clearly challenged it in a Jamie Maguire there, didn't you?
Derby day, and I certainly learned that from old Maguire. Yeah, but no, fantastic experience, and we've got the World Cup in 9 months, so that's what we need to focus on now.
And we'll get you a Mansfield Matters t-shirt printed from underneath. Listen to the Mansfield Matters podcast, so when you score, you rip off the top, and there it is.
It's in June, so it's out of the season, so I'm hoping that the Mansfield Matters crew, you come out and support us, and maybe
we should do a blind football podcast.
I think there's a gap in the market for that. So
let's get on that plane. Let's get on the plane.
It's in Madrid. So 9 months time. So.
Happy days. Took plenty of time to sort the passports out, boys. It's your idea, so obviously you're funding it.
I thought it might be.
I mean, you could sell this. I mean, I'm sure you'd get 20-30 quid for not really. Probably a lot more than that, mate.
I'll have a word with the England manager. See if he can sort that out.
Stick his hand in his pocket. Yeah, let's get it done.
I won't be too sure about that, but
well, I think I can speak for all of us when we say obviously we're really proud of you, mate, and it's a really good thing to see you do. So here's to the next one.
Cheers, boys.
Let's move on then. It's good to have you back, and obviously you were back last night from playing on the pitch to blind football. I imagine you wished you were still out there after last night, because yet again Mansfield couldn't cope with 3 up front. We'll touch on the Luton game later, but boys, a 3-1 defeat to Lincoln City in the Checkatrade Trophy. For me, the competition, that doesn't matter so much. I think it's the manner in which we lost the game.
Definitely, and fair enough, we took the lead early, and we probably should have upped the ante a little bit more just to get that second goal to make it a bit secure. But it's letting another lead slip down the left hand side. Just a couple of few passes undone us, and of all the people to score last night, Ollie Palmer, Matt Green. To be honest, we knew Green, as soon as he got that ball on halfway line, it wasn't
just on that point as well, though. I don't think, like, the third goal for me, I'm not bothered about. I mean, we was going to try and save something from the game.
Yeah.
So you throw the keeper up, and that's the gamble you take. Yeah. So I don't have any problem with that at all. The other two, though, there's question marks there, isn't there?
Defending again, it's what I was saying on to. I mean, again, making 10 changes, obviously, the players, obviously, they're still a new team, so they're still finding their feet, so to speak. But even so, the manner, and like say that we lost, you expect more, don't you? I mean, okay, I know it was a competition that we've never prioritised, but again, it's just the manner, like you say, that we lost in it. I mean, especially the second half, I think we just lost all interest in that. That was the most disappointing thing in the end.
You obviously mentioned the 10 changes there, but the thing is, it's not like they were reserve team players, with the exception of Jack Thomas, and I mean, no disrespect to that, but I think, it's clear you could see the golfing quality there. But my point is, they weren't reserve team players at all. They were all first team players, hence why they could play. And it's just like there was just nothing there. We played so well at the start, didn't we? We played so. I mean, Alfie Potter was just magic.
On fire.
Yeah.
Same with McDonald as well. I thought coming back from injury, he played very, very well as well last night.
I think these sort of games are a perfect chance for the players that are coming back from injury and the players that haven't had much game time. McDonald's not played since end of last season, so getting his fitness back in pre-season, in the close match a few weeks ago against Peterborough, obviously did him good as well. And then just to get a run out last night was good for him. Hopefully he's done enough to push for a starting place against Carlisle. If he has, then well done to him, because he's been a fantastic player since we've signed him, and he was unlucky to pick up the injury. And you know what? If he can come back and produce more of what he produced last season, then I can see him pushing for a first team place every game.
I think that was certainly the positive for me last night. I mean, you look at the players who came in, as you say, those players would have wanted to come in and to make their mark on the team. You had Alfie Potter, who had an outstanding game. He will be very, very hard done by to not start at Carlisle. Yeah. Alec McDonald, as you mentioned, another one. I felt George Taft actually had a fairly solid game at centre back, and we looked a little bit more assured. He's got the long throw there as well. Yeah. To be honest, we'll come up on this a little bit more, but the frustration after a defeat always sort of niggles away at you. But the more I think about last night, the more I'm starting to think, do you know what? Last night and Saturday as well against Luton, the way we threw the game away completely, it's not necessarily the players, it's the system. I think we'd be far suited to three at the back, and we'll come on to that a little bit more later on, but it's just how many more games do we allow these little mistakes to come up to now? Because I think I've calculated in my head that we've dropped at least 6 points now.
Yeah. Well, I think we need to be more reactive, don't we? And I think it's something that we're going to have to really get a grip on soon, because it's going to be the difference between being a playoff hopeful and being a promotional hopeful. We need to be able to see out games. Even like of Accrington a couple of weeks back, obviously we gave up a goal there, and we ended up going losing that game. But even a point there would have been a big difference. Yes, we conceded, but if we just managed to hold on and get 1 point out of that, it'd have been a positive. But then to go 2-0 up and quite dominant against Luton as well, to then go and draw that game, that was very poor.
That was the most frustrating thing for me, because we're 2-0, we were in absolute control. And do you know what? I'm actually going to stick my neck on the line here and blame Steve Evans, because I think he got the subs wrong. You look at what Luton did. They knew they could try and get back in the game. They threw 3 up top. James Collins, Danny Hilton, they're always a handful. We should have signed Collins in pre-season. Why that didn't come off, I don't know. Perhaps we didn't put enough noughts on the checkbook, whatever. But that punished us. They went through up front, and rather than trying to protect the game at that point at 2-0 up by bringing someone on, like Taft, because you could see Benning was flagging. Yeah. Why didn't we bring Taft on at left back? Why did we not bring on a midfielder just to sort of close it out and see out the game? Instead, we bring 2 centre forwards on to try and needlessly try and add 2 more. They bring centre forwards on, and catch-22, we get caught, and that's what kills us.
And I think it was massively down to the subs. Obviously, you see Benning were tired. Taft could quite easily play at left back, so could Reece Bennett quite easily. So you could see down the left wing, like, note against Benning and Anderson, but they were tired. I just think, even if they were tired, the rest of the defence and the rest of the midfield didn't really back up. If they knew they were tired, just get a little bit further across, just to give that bit of support. And then it was simple tap-ins. I think, to be honest, the second goal for Luton was absolutely abysmal defending, as well as goalkeeping. I think
you could see that coming from the seconds that Collins picked the ball out of the back of the net for the first one and slammed the ball on the halfway line. You knew Luton were up for it then. Oh,
definitely. You think they score with 10 minutes remaining, they've got the momentum, we're just wilting under the pressure now, and we've stuck strikers on. What's the point of sticking strikers on? We're 2-0 up. Like you said, stick a central defender on, stick a holding midfielder in.
Nobody would have complained. Would anybody? Well, I'll ask, will anybody have complained if we'd have brought a defender on and just closed the game out and maybe not even got out of the half and just defended?
Defend what you've got, haven't you?
Not against a side like Luton. Well, you need to respect who they had on the pitch, and like you say, Danny Hilton and Collins, and they've got a very good attacking team. So I think you need to respect the opposition, and we can go out there and do what we can, but you've got to look at who's coming on, and you've got to react to it. That's what I think. I think we just haven't reacted to the opposition system at the moment, and that's what we need to get a grip on.
Yeah, certainly so. We'll touch upon that a little bit more as we go on. Time now for the connection question. I'm going to mix things up a little bit this week as well. We are going to introduce a new feature I've not told any of you about yet, so we're going to introduce that very shortly as well. But time for the connection question first and foremost. It's the question where I ask it nearly the start of every podcast. At some point I ask it. But let's just go with that. It's a question which loosely connects to the upcoming opponents. Obviously Carlisle on Saturday away, but what I want to know today is, who were the goal scorers as Mansfield Town beat Carlisle on the final day of the 2001-2002 season to seal promotion to what is now known as League One? We'll reveal the answers later on. Mark, do you think you know? Can you think back to those days? I mean, for me, that was the very start of my Stags journey. So was it for you, or had you been going a few years before that? We're similar age, so.
Bit after, but I can remember one of the scorers at least.
Okay. Nathan?
I know 1, potentially 2.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Edging his bets. Cam, usually you cheat by looking at the answers.
I didn't even follow the Stags back then. I was 2.
Well, yeah, you would have been, wouldn't you? I forget how young you were.
I think I'd have been.
You were just a thought, weren't you?
I'd have been 2. I think I'd have been 1/2 that season. So this is a bit unfair.
I don't think it's unfair whatsoever. We'll come on to that later.
I wouldn't. Even if I was, I probably wouldn't remember, to be honest.
Well, there you go. Well, if you know the answer at home, obviously we'll reveal it later on. I mean, I don't know why I do that, because it's not. We should do this live. We should do a Facebook Live one day. Something like that. We might do it after this or something. We'll have a quick one on that. Let's move on then. Let's talk a little bit more about our topics. It's a debatable one, and you brought it up earlier on Twitter, Nath, at MTFC Matters, if you want to get involved. Jeepers Keepers, who's going to keep goal at Carlisle on Saturday? What's your argument?
Well, I feel like Logan's going to stay in, but I don't think he deserves to. I think Olejnik, in the games he's played in, he's more than earned that shirt now, and it's about time he gets given the chance. I think. I don't know how you boys feel, but
why? Well, in what would, if you were to sit down, if you were Steve Evans, don't do the accent, can't afford it. Sorry, medal. If you were Steve Evans, you were having a meeting with the two of them, with Ian Pledger, the goalkeeping coach as well, and you were, trying to justify your reason for putting Olejnik in over Logan. What would your argument be?
I think it's just the fact that Logan's. I mean, they're both very good keepers, and you can't take that away from Logan. But he has made a couple of mistakes. He made one. Was it Crewe at the first game of the season? Obviously, like I say, Luton, although I wasn't there for the game and I didn't actually get to see him, it sounds like he made another mistake there. Correct me if I'm wrong, boys. But
no, I think I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. Like I said in my blog afterwards, I don't necessarily like blaming goalkeepers or pinning the blame on individuals, but your job as a goalkeeper is to marshal your defence. You can watch the game unfolding in front of you. Yeah. Surely he can see that Luton have stuck through up front, so why is he not dragging another midfielder back into man mark? Yeah. And I think he's got to take some blame for that and some responsibility.
Could you say that obviously the first goal was a bit along the floor, straight into the back of net, about 2 yards out? Would you say that the second goal was a bit more Logan-esque, like not coming out for the ball?
Well, there you think, you look back at the footage, don't you? And you see, I think I counted at least 3 opportunities to get rid. It comes across once, we don't get rid of it. It comes across again, we don't get rid of it. And then it comes back in and they score. 3 chances for either Logan to come and get his hands on the ball, or for someone to put the foot through it, and nobody does. Why?
Yeah. So it's not just. I wouldn't say it's just Logan's fault. So you can't firmly put the whole blame on him. But like I say, he does. I think that is a problem with him not coming out to collect the ball, because that relieves so much pressure on your defence. And when you're under the cosh, it's just what you need. You need your keeper to come out, collect it, and by your side a few more. Even if it's a few more seconds, it'll make a massive difference. Gives you time to regroup, and then you get the ball down the other side of the pitch. Just a simple catch can do so much for your team.
And I think the thing is as well, it's another thing I noticed it watching sort of last night, and comparing going back to the Rochdale game as well, because obviously you can watch all the games on iFollow now, so I've watched back the 2 which Olejnik has played, and we don't look as indecisive when Olejnik is in goal. There's a little bit more of confidence in the back four, and if you look at the way in which we conceded that second goal against Luton, the indecision actually on 3 or 4 separate occasions where thankfully they didn't score, was plain for all to see, and that's what worries me.
I think that last night it was a much improved performance in the back. Obviously, other than conceding 2 sloppy goals, but it's the cup. Nobody's particularly bothered, and I think as proved last season, we don't need to win every game in this competition to get through.
No, I mean, you look at the Doncaster game, we got well beaten, didn't we?
We got absolutely hammered, and we came back and we played better in both them games. But it's still a game. It's still a competitive game. It's a game that we can use the game time to work out tactics, mix the teams up and see how players play. And there were a couple of scary moments in defence, but I think that was down to their attack force was a bit rough and ready. You could tell they were a definite conference, had come up from the conference, just how they played. Same with Forest Green a couple of weeks ago, very, very physical, not much fluid play, never really. They looked at attacking force, but not always through long ball up front, flick on, chase. You could see that a lot, and there were a couple of moments that really showed what the difference between the two teams. We were wanting to play the ball; they were just wanting to kick lumps out of it.
I was going to say, I know we keep saying that it was only a Checker Trade trophy tie, which it was, and I firmly agree that it should not be a priority this season, especially if we are going to look to do well in the league. But I think the timing of this fixture was quite important, and the fact that Steve Evans is obviously making at the start of the season made a big point about where we're going to be in after the first 10 games. Now, obviously, I know this obviously doesn't count to the league, but I felt like it was a good opportunity to just start the ball rolling a bit more, because we haven't got off to the best start. We've picked up 1 win in 6 games in all competitions now, and that was an opportunity. The players are going to be down, obviously the supporters were down after drawing against Luton in the manner that we did. I thought that was a good opportunity to at least try and get back to winning ways, and I think we needed that to bounce us back into the the league against Carlisle, and I think that's what I mean. The timing of it was more important than the actual fixture, because it was an opportunity to put right a few wrongs.
Yeah, and I don't think we did that. I mean, we mentioned it earlier, obviously, a few players did knock on the door and sort of show their performances, but, we just didn't do it, did we?
No, disappointing. I mean, obviously, like I say, after the Luton game, especially after that, where we should have killed the game off at 2-0 up, and I think last night was disappointing as well for some of the players. I mean, it was a chance for them to get in the first team, and I think some of them just showed that they're not up for the challenge,
I think Steve Evans said afterwards in his post-match press conference that one or two players won't play again.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit of anger speaking there, which you can understand, but I think he's got a point, because if you're not going to perform when you get the opportunities, then you're not going to get in, are you?
No.
But it's simple. But
I think for someone like Jack Thomas, not got the game time this season, getting the game time last season either, I think this competition was a perfect opportunity to get game time, prove his worth at the club. Has he taken it? Probably not.
No, definitely
from
not.
that performance last night, obviously me and Craig seen him this season at Rainworth as well, in the under-20s team. Didn't really outperform anybody in that game either. And
I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't want it to sound like we're being negative towards Jack, because I think Jack is a cracking lad as a person. I've obviously known him, I've watched him come through the youth team. He's got the talent, but he has been sort of, as we mentioned in the first podcast, a little bit mistreated in some areas. But now he's at the age where he needs to be stamping his authority. He's the same age. I think there's a year difference between him and Digby. The class is different, and if you look at the midfielders we've got, Digby, Byram, who we missed again last night, Atkinson, Anderson, all of them who can play in a central role, Potter as well. It doesn't compare, and that's very sad to say. It certainly is. Let's move from what I think is turning into a bit of a negative. Let's turn into something a little bit more fun and light-hearted. I mean, the rain is sort of making us feel a little bit more negative, although I think we've chosen quite a decent spot here under this big...
Wally with a brolly.
Yeah, Wally with a brolly, yeah. Where is Steve McLaren? Is he around? Oh, he's serving tea in the tea bar over there. Nice to see you, Steve. Right then, obviously the last couple of weeks, I think what we need to do on the podcast is mix it up a little bit, and I want to find out who is perhaps the most brainiest, the most knowledgeable about the stag. So I've come up with a little quiz. Everyone's leaving now, so everyone's deserted me. Guys, come back. It's the Mansfield Matters Mastermind Challenge. Insert good music, quiz music here. Our brand new quiz pits our three regular panellists up against each other to discover who knows the most about our beloved Mansfield town. Over the season, they'll take each other on in a small league format, with the winner taking home a mystery but phenomenal prize. Well, probably. Each instalment will lend itself to the great quiz show formats, mainly because I'm not original enough to think of new games. This week it's the first outing of 15-1. With the two players with the highest score in the quickest time going head-to-head in Stags Buster later in the series to win more points. Anyone with any ideas what Stags Buster could be?
a bit like Blockbuster.
There it is, he's got the nail on there. There it is. 15-1 though, we'll see contestants face Stags-themed questions. The first about a goalkeeper, and then so on throughout the squad. Question 12 is about a substitute, whilst 13 and 14 is all about a manager and assistant. With me so far?
Yeah.
And then the final question is just a Stags general knowledge question as well. Each player will be up against the clock. An incorrect answer will add 10 seconds to the player's total time. A player can pass, and any questions passed will be asked to the two other players after the game is finished. The first to shout out the correct answer will be awarded a time deduction of 5 seconds per answer to their time when they play the game later in the series. With me so far?
Yeah.
Okay, with me so far, it's good. The player with the most correct answers in the quickest time will get 3 points. Second will get 2 points, and guess what third will get? 1 point. 1 point. Adrian's on the balls. To decide who goes first in today's edition, I'm going to ask you a bit of a mathematical conundrum. So the player who answers to the nearest of the figure will get to choose, who wants to go first, that sort of thing. Yeah. So they can nominate themselves, or they might be a little bit tactical and put somebody else to play. Do you see where I'm going with this? Yeah. Okay, so get your thinking caps on, get your mathematical brains working.
Pass.
No, you can't pass on this answer. I'm looking for the number you get when you add together the number of appearances, according to Wikipedia, made by Matt Reed, multiplied by the number of league appearances Kevin Pilkington made during his second spell with the club, minus the shirt number of Godfrey Poku, plus the current age of assistant boss Paul Rayner. Anyone, any guesses? Right, let's do this in the number of medals won at a competition. So Cam, I think you've got a 5 metre swimming certificate once. Mark, I'm sure you've won a pub quiz at some point in time, and Nathan, you won a bronze medal at a European tournament. So Cam, give me your guess first. I'll give you a clue, it's a 4-figure number.
It's bizarre. Have you checked this? Because you never had one. You've never been one for maths.
No, I have checked this, but we will put the question on screen as well if you're watching this on the video version. So and I'll explain it afterwards as well. So I'm looking for, just to reiterate, the number of appearances made by Matt Reed times by the number of league appearances made by Kevin Pilkey during his second spell at the club. Winning so far. Yeah. Times by minus the shirt number of Godfrey Poku, plus the current age of assistant boss Paul Rayner. Your guess, please, Cam.
1,232.
Okay, Mark.
1,369.
And Nathan.
I'm going to go for 3,210.
Okay, well I can tell you, Nathan, you were way out. Cam, you weren't too far out, but Mark, you're actually the closest. So I'll run you through the maths. 150 was the appearances made by Matt Reed. 10 was the number of appearances made by Pilkington, so that makes 1,500, if you're with me. 22 was the shirt number of Godfrey Poku, which makes 1,478, and the current age of assistant boss Paul Rayner is 51, which makes 1,529. So Mark, you are the closest, so you can either choose to take on the questions yourself, or you can nominate one of the other two. What are you going to go for? Oh, he's not going to. Okay. So Cam, you are taking on the questions. So again, just to reiterate, it's against the clock. Yeah. Right. Any question you get wrong adds 10 seconds to your time, and I'll ask those questions to Nathan and to Mark afterwards, so they get points deduction to their time. You'll get the opportunity of that when the others play. You ready? You ready to play?
Insert clock video here.
Oh, he's clever, this lad. Only if you watch it on the video version. That won't necessarily work on the audio version. Insert audio, nice competition bed thing.
A bit like
here.
countdown conundrum
sort
of thing.
One of those ones. One of those. So are you ready to play Mansfield Matters Mastermind?
Yes.
Okay. In 3, 2, 1. Who was Mansfield Town's first number 1 shirt number in the football conference?
Paddy Gamble.
Which right back departed the Stags in 2004, going on to spend a decade with Barnsley?
Pass.
Which central defender was famed for his long throw and scored a dramatic late equaliser for the Stags against Fleetwood on March 13th, 2012?
Exodus Cahegan.
Dad Days in Mourn is an anagram of which current central defender? That's D-A-D, D-A-Z-E-I-N, M-O-R-N.
Xander Diamond.
Name the first 3 clubs Mal Benning scored against in his debut season for the Stags, and I'm looking for all 3.
Carlisle, Dagenham, Newport.
Which former right winger from the 2004-2005 season now manages Preston North End?
Pass.
Which former central midfielder was the first ever professional footballer to appear on cult quiz show Countdown?
Pass.
I had 2 spells at the Stags, one under David Holdsworth, the other under Paul Cox, where I won the league. I've also had numerous spells with Alfreton. Who am I?
Pass.
Race Down Yen is an anagram of which former left winger? That's R-A-C-D-O-W-N-Y-E-N.
Restate.
After Billy McEwen's departure midway through our debut season in the conference, which striker was appointed joint caretaker boss alongside AD Moses?
Mark Stallard.
Which striker joined from Mansfield Town in the summer of 2005, played 4 games and then left for Bury?
Pass.
Who was the last ever used substitute during the Stags' first spell in the Football League in their 2-0 loss at Dagenham on the final day of the season?
Can you repeat that?
Who was the last ever used substitute during the Stags' first spell in the Football League in the 2-0 defeat at Dagenham?
Jason White.
Which manager had 3 spells at the helm of the Stags? The first as caretaker in 1993, the second in 1999, succeeding Steve Parkin, and the third in December 2006.
Oh, Paul Holland.
Which assistant boss had a brief spell as caretaker manager prior to the appointment of Paul Cox never to take charge of a game? Give you a clue, was famous for diving in a game away at Bath.
Pass. Can't remember that.
And finally, when the Stags reached Wembley in 2011, where did the Stags have to play Worksop Town because former owner Keith Haslam had locked the club from the stadium in the first game of that tournament?
Ilkeston Town.
And we will stop the clock right there. Okay, so...
They were tough.
Yeah.
They were.
A lot of them questions were like way out of my age range.
Yeah.
Fair enough, I'm a Stags fan, but I don't know everything about
I've
it.
got to do maths now to try and work out, because I've realised that I've not done this well.
We're
So
going to be here for 3-4 years.
Cut.
maybe,
We'll edit this bit out.
maybe.
Fast forward.
But I've kind of worked it out. It's in the 2-minute mark. I shall confirm
right.
later. But let's run through the right answers that you got. Obviously, Paddy Gamble you got right. Xander Diamond you got right. Carlisle Dagenham Newport you got right for Mel Benning. Mark Stallard you got right. And Ilkeston Town. So that gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 correct answers in roughly 2 minutes plus numerous time penalties. What I've got to ask now, though, is I've got to ask the questions you got wrong to Mark and to Nathan. So the way this works, I'm going to give you a buzzer. So you've got to shout you've got to say a certain word for you to buzz in to answer the question. Nathan, your word is medal, and Mark, your word is beard. Okay. We get it. Okay. So I'm going to Mark and Nathan, so I'll do a bit of a tally chart thing there. Right, okay, the first one. Which right back departed the Stags in 2004 going on to Nathan?
Bobby Assel.
Correct answer. So that's -5 from your time. Which former right winger from the 2004-2005 season now manages Preston
Beard.
North End? Go for it, Mark.
Alex Neil.
Correct answer. It's tense this game, isn't it? Tense. Which former central midfielder was the first ever professional footballer to appear on Cult Quiz Show Countdown?
I remember this. Well, I don't
I'll give you a clue. If anyone sort of has remembered the references, this was the player I first had on the back of the
Medal.
cover. Go for it.
Is it Neil Mackenzie?
It was, Nate. Yes. Well done, well played. Okay, next one was I had 2 spells at the Stags, one under David Holdsworth, the other under Paul
Medal.
Cox. Go for it.
Anthony Howell.
Was indeed. Well done. You've got to pick yourself up here, Mark. Come on. He's on fire, this lad. Race Down Yen is an anagram of which former left winger? Race Down Yen. RACDOWNYEN. Race Down Yen. Former left winger. Bit of a clue. He's also involved with today's connection question, and he used to have a nice little song sung about him. I can't do it without singing
Medal.
it. Go for it.
Wayne Corder.
Yes,
Is
very
it?
no Cordelia. Yeah. Race
I
Down
recognise the
Yen.
song, but like,
Yeah,
okay.
there you go. Well done. Which striker joined Mansfield Town in the summer of 2005? Played 4 games and then left Bury.
Medal.
Go for it, Mark. No, it's not. So Nathan, even if you can have a guess, but Mark's got it wrong, so it's going to go to you anyway. So, but have a guess anyway.
I'll just say Richard Barker.
It's not. It's Matt Tipton is the answer. That's the hard one. He remembers Matt Tipton. Okay, who was the last ever used substitute during the Stags' first spell in the Football League in the 2-0 loss at Dagenham? I'll give you a clue. He was a youth teamer. Played up front a little bit. His initials were
Medal.
LT. Go for it.
Oh, why did I do that? No.
Okay, I'm going to give
Said the initials and it threw
Gonna
me.
give it Mark. It's Lewis Trimmer was the answer to that one. Which manager had 3 spells at the helm of the Stags? The first as caretaker in 1993, the second in 1999, and the third in December 2006. Go for it.
Billy Dearden.
It was indeed old Bill Dearden. 6-2 to Nathan so far. And the final one. Which assistant boss had a brief spell as caretaker manager prior to the appointment of Paul Cox, never to take charge of a game? Assistant to the late Duncan Russell, of course, as well. Played up front for us a little bit. He was player assistant. Played at World Cup. Played for Jamaica, I believe. Come on, somebody's got to get this. Everybody at home is screaming out the answer. Played in the World Cup for Jamaica. He was a legend. He dived away at that. Played up front. Johnny's initials.
Jamaica played a while.
This is killing me. Johnny's initials.
The initials.
Yeah.
Okay. PH.
Bid for Holland.
No! You're so close.
Jamaica.
Yeah, Paul Holland, that famous Jamaican international. Well done, George. You were right, you were half right. It was Paul. Big room. You have assemblies in this at school. You eat your dinner in there. Paul! Oh yeah. I'm going to give that to Nathan. Jesus Christ.
Like pulling teeth.
Oh, it really was. Wow, okay, let's move back to some of the topics. Let's get away from that. Did you enjoy that little
good,
change?
that was alright, yeah.
We'll bring that back, of course, in the future podcast where either Nathan or Mark will take on the game. Well done, Cam. We'll put the leaderboard on the screen as well with all the permutations and everything. I quite enjoyed that. It was quite a good one. Look, it'd be quite good when we play Stake Bust as well. I like a little quiz. It sort of mixes things up. And you lot are all going to get uber competitive. And do you know what the good thing about this is? None of you can make me play because it's me. I produce it, so none of you can make me play.
Well,
I think we should rotate the producer role.
yeah, we can do that. We can do that,
sounds
can't we,
good.
later on?
You want to sit through this and edit all this today?
Give me the software then, and I'll edit it.
Cheeky,
And me, you know.
No, well, you're an expert vlogger.
I'm just going to show off the skills that you've learnt me over the years.
He's good. He's good. Right then.
Back average.
Sucking up much.
I think he's after a lift home because it is raining, isn't it? Right then. Let's move back to the here and now. After that quiz show's behind us, there's about a week left, maybe even less, of the transfer window to go.
There's today and
Few
tomorrow.
days, yeah,
2 days. So by the time this goes out, the transfer window will actually be closed. We'll obviously put the teaser on, as we usually do, on the Facebook page and everything like that as well. But how important is it that Steve Evans, Carolyn Radford, John Radford sit down, get on the phone non-stop and get some players in? Because I think after the first 6 games in all competitions, I think we're screaming out for a couple of players, aren't we?
I think probably from the performances, I think we've let it slip in the last few minutes. So I'd probably say defender or a holding midfielder or a defensive midfielder. Because you can't let games slip like that, and I think if we'd got that bit of energy at the back, bringing an extra defender on, I think them games probably would have ended differently. So I think defensive is key. I don't think we particularly need anyone going forward. Obviously, Lee Angle's finally finding his feet, 2-2 now. Kane Hemmings was unlucky not to score against Luton. I think obviously he'll get his chance at the weekend again. I think Carlisle will be a good game for him to finally find the back of the net. So I wouldn't say going forward we need anybody. I think it's more defensive minded.
We've got to shore up at the back now.
Definitely.
I mean, you look at the attacking options we've got. Obviously, Kane Hemmings has sort of eased the burden a little bit. I wouldn't mind if we did sign a young, hungry sort of player from, say, Sheffield United, maybe another championship club, who's sort of needing to develop. I mean, Sheffield United was fantastic last year. Look at the addition of Ben Whiteman. He's doing well at Doncaster now. I think we were rumoured to sign another Doncaster player, a midfielder, but didn't come off. But maybe an attacking player, a young attacking player, just in case.
Yeah, he's on about.
Just until Jan.
Yeah, he was talking about a young player, wasn't he? You're bringing a young striker in as well, so that'd be a good addition.
I disagree. I don't think. I know he's saying about a young striker and an attacking midfielder. That's what it's been saying in press, isn't it?
I don't think both.
I don't think we need a striker. We've already got 5 now. Is it? And no, I really don't think we need a striker. There'd be too many then. Especially now we've got Kane Hemmings in. I really don't. Attacking midfielder maybe, but I really don't think we need a striker.
With the striker situation, I think we've had this problem before, just bringing players in for the sake of it, and then having bad man management. Do you want someone like Kane Hemmings dropping down a league, even though it's on loan? Do you want him being pushed out the side by somebody that's below his standard, but there just because he's a player and he can play?
It's a good point. I think the one thing we all agree on though is a player. I rate Johnny Hunt going forward. I rate Mal Benning. He's been a good servant for us, but I think we do need to tighten up a little bit at left back. I mean, George Taft can play there. George Taft. George Taft. Who's he? His new signing. You heard it here first.
Found him.
He's draining this one out, isn't he?
Hey, pull the plug, somebody. Pull the plug. Here we go. Let's drip on with this. Obviously, I think he can play left back and very comfortably. Did so for Burton, obviously, as they got promoted from this league as well. But an out left back, someone who's a little bit more defensive minded. Because I think actually, if you look at Johnny Hunt and Mal Benning, they're actually more attack-minded wing-backs than what they are full-backs. I want a defensive full-back who can come in, do what Nathan did in the Euros, 2-footer German, and slam him into the stands.
Yep. No, I agree. I think the left side.
How you fixed, Nate?
needs work.
Yeah.
I'll do it. The commentator said Steve Evans might be signing me, so let's see.
Well, happy days, you know.
Might be a busy couple of days for me, you know.
Well, that's
transfer
it.
window and all that. But no, I do think that we've got to do something on that left side. But I don't know. I don't think it needs another player. I would say we need one more player, and I would say I'd be a midfielder, attacking midfielder. I think in the defence, although we've had a shaky start, I think that defence is they need to gel, and they've not had enough time yet. I know we've obviously got to start seeing out games now because the season started, but.
I'm just banging so
Table.
But I think we've got enough cover there. We've got, like I say, I think we should put Taft back to the left when we need to be more defensive minded. And then you've got plenty of players for that middle. You've got Murphy, Diamond, Pearce. Go on, who else we got? Trying to think now. Obviously we've got Bennett and White. So you've got a lot of players that can fill in those other places, and they're all, I would say, first team players.
Would anybody be inclined to swap the system? Because so far we've played, 4-4-2. Sometimes it's been a bit of a diamond 4-4-2, but it's been a flat back four all the time. And I think you look at the way we got caught against Luton, you look against the way we got caught, against Lincoln last night, and then some of the other games as well. Actually, where we've been caught down that side. I mentioned it a little bit earlier. Sometimes it's not a personnel thing. I think system-wise, we had a bit of a spell last season. Actually, I know I wasn't there watching the games, but I saw the highlights back and watched some of the video footage as well, which sort of showed me a few things and had reports on it. But we were playing three at the back at times, and I think that would actually suit us a little bit more, because you've got Taft who can play left side centre back. You've got Bennett who can play right side centre back. I think he's a stronger centre back than what people give him credit for. Pearce in the middle. You've got Murphy in there as well, who I thought was fantastic. Actually, I know I was critical of him a few weeks back, but he was fantastic against Luton.
Yeah.
Much improved. But I think the system we've got and the players we've got, I think it would lend us to more of a three.
Yeah.
With Digby sitting in front of that three, dropping into a back four when needed. Anyone agree?
Well, yeah, but the thing is as well, obviously we're going to face against different teams, and I think it's always going to keep on chopping and changing. I think that's the only problem. Against different sides, you're going to set up differently, so I think that's going to be a kind of struggle to keep it going, to be honest.
I just think by going to a three at the back, it would just strengthen us down that side a little bit. You've got Taft who's he would be playing a little bit more of a central defensive role, but he's on that left side to cover that. Anderson is an absolute workhorse. He will run up and down the wing all day, every day, and not stop until he dies, basically. So you've got the defensive cover there. McDonald, if he was in, does the same. I just think we would get a little bit more fluidity and a little bit more success if we went to three at the back. It's just one of who knows? But I'm not a football manager,
Yeah.
So who knows? Steve Evans might be watching this, and
Plenty of football manager over the years, I suppose.
Well, yeah, but football manager's not always reflective of.
No, not at all.
There you go. Although my football manager's CV is quite decent, so clubs out there looking to. No, let's not go there. Obviously, if Steve Evans is watching this, obviously, it's just a humble fan's opinion, but maybe three at the back, it might just give us a bit more success. I mean, you look at where we go in Saturday, for example, Carlisle. Well, let's touch upon them as well. They're a team who can hurt you. They've got good players, but if you look, against the Keithkill side, we know our Keithkill managers, and I think we could risk going three at the back, because if we keep the ball tight in midfield and use players like Digby and Byram and McDonald and Anderson, we won't have too many problems closing them down. And I think we need to now go into a game, grab it by the scruff of the neck and say, right, we are Mansfield Town and this is what we're going to do. We're not going to let you get anywhere near us anymore, because we've made simple mistakes.
We need to be more ruthless, don't we, I think.
Is that
to really grab all the game and just, well, I think we did it against Luton, didn't we, to be fair, for 80 minutes we did it. But I'd take a 1-0, and I'd take a scrappy 1-0 just to get a win on the board, I think. Another win. I know we obviously beat Forest Green, but it feels like so long ago since we last won. I don't know how you guys feel, but it just seems like ages ago. That's all. I just think we need to get a bit of confidence back into to the side, I think.
And I think the manner in which the last two games have been thrown away, despicably thrown away.
We can't make it a habit.
That's the thing, and the continuity does breed habits, doesn't it?
Well, that's the frustrating thing. I mean, the thing is, we've got the players that can do it, and that's the more frustrating thing about it, because we should be playing teams off the park, to be honest, with the players we've got.
I think one thing for me as well, I noted it sort of Saturday, was Reece Bennett's post-match interview. I would swap my goal for a win. And that shows to me that there are at least some players in that dressing room who were hurt after that.
Yeah.
And all right, last night, Checker Trade Trophy, those players weren't playing. We made 10 changes. But you've still got a squad there who I wanted just to see and come together and try and win and just try and rally it. But they didn't and what have you. But no doubt we're going to go to Carlisle, and I would probably say it will be a mixture of the two sides that played Lincoln and Luton. And those players will have been hurt. Both of them will have been hurt in the same circumstances. We've got to come out, and for me, a point is not good enough at Carlisle. We've got to come back for a win. We've got to get the confidence in the dressing room, and we've got to come out fighting.
I think that's a really good point, and I think a clean sheet at Carlisle, yeah, like Mark said, scrappy 1-0 win, that'd be fantastic. Do the defence some good. I think keeper and defence confidence has been a key point. There's been very indecisive between the two. Numerous occasions against Luton on Saturday, keeper had come out for it, and Christian Pearce or I can't remember who played it, Murphy, had just slam it back into either upfield or straight into Bishop Street just to get rid of it. Does it show that they don't quite trust Logan?
It's a bit of indecision, isn't there? Back there.
And I think that's what's letting us down at some points, and I think that's where both Luton's goals span from, really. It was neither defence nor goalkeeper wanted to go for it, not being able to communicate, and I think communication was a bit better Tuesday night against Luton, against Lincoln. It was much better. Olejnik's a bit more commanding, do this, do that, do this, actually bossing his player around. Logan, he's loud, but he's doesn't really boss the defence much, does he?
No.
Not going on a manhunt or anything and that, but you need a goalkeeper that's going to come out for the ball, make it his, command his area, and actually just show that he does deserve a place in the squad.
Let's move briefly on to the September fixtures then. Busy month coming up, a lot of Saturday, Tuesdays in there. Nice one to start off with, nice little trip to Carlisle. Unfortunately, we're going to have a little trip up to the lakes, but we just couldn't get it arranged in time. But we will probably do something, later in the season where we're going a bit of a tour. But that's why we've come here to Bury Hill Park. So we thought we'd mix it up a little bit and introduce the new features. And we did tell you to come back with a medal, and you've done just that. So we do keep our promises here on the Mansfield Matters podcast. Yeah. So there you go. Obviously, start off with Carlisle. Then a week later, Grimsby at home, 1 o'clock kick-off. Nice little tasty local derby in that one. Wycombe Wanderers then on the Tuesday night, Tuesday the 12th of September. Nice little home game for us there as well. Then a rematch against Lincoln, trip to Lincoln City on September the 16th. That'll be a really feisty encounter. Cambridge as well for the following Saturday at home. Nice little game against there. Always a good side, can hurt you. Nice little Tuesday night trip to Cheltenham. Anybody fancying that one so far?
If you're paying
Have you all like giving that one a miss then?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
We'll do Carlisle because it's not too bad on a Saturday, but Cheltenham on a Tuesday night. No.
Grim, isn't it? It looks like I'm the only one, maybe. No, I'm not. And then obviously Notts County at home on Saturday the 30th of September to round off the month as well. Some local derbies in there, some crunch games. Where do you want to be after these 2, 4, 6, 7 games in September? Where do you want Mansfield Town to be?
Top 6.
Cam?
Yeah. You'd probably say top 6, but I'd happily take top 8. Pushing that way just to get the wins more than anything. I wouldn't be bothered if we could win all the games, fantastic, but I won't mind a loss against any of them teams because they're all fantastic.
No, so you wouldn't mind a loss against Notts County?
Well, I would. But
you wouldn't mind a loss against Lincoln?
I would, but you get what I mean. It's not like it's the end of the world if we did get a loss.
Of course it's the end of the world, the local derbies.
True, but it's like, I think there are games that are winnable. There's some games that will be tough, and I think the result against Notts County or Lincoln, because form goes out the window in local derbies. We know this, and it's all down to who's the best team on the day, and I think that's where we might slip up if we play like we've been playing.
Certainly so. And finally, Nathan, where do you want Mansfield Town to be after those games in September?
I think top 7. I think we need to be in there.
Anyone want us to have a bit of a run in there? I'm looking at those fixtures, and there are tough games, and there will be a defeat in there. But I only want 1 defeat. Yeah. Any more than 2 defeats, and I think we're not going to be in there.
Well, yes, it's after 10 games into them.
Yeah.
So.
Which would put it after how many league games played so far? 4. 4. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Which would be after the Cheltenham game, the 10th game's of the Cheltenham game. Yeah.
That is a really tough run in that in September.
Yeah. I think
how we look at it, it's going to be hard, and I don't know. I think we might actually lose more than one. It depends how we react now. I think we've really got to start stamping out authority on the game.
So it's a bit of a barrier. That's all right. Sorry for that. Obviously, let's just wrap things up now. Then, obviously, as Nathan says, it's not how you start, it's how you finish, and let's hope that Mansfield can get up there and maybe do some deals in the transfer window as well. Maybe we'll do a bit of a Facebook Live on transfer deadline day or something. We'll figure a way out to do it without being with each other. We'll sort something out. Right then, let's just wrap things up with the Prediction League. Obviously, Nathan, you've not been here for a couple of weeks, so understandably you are bottom of the table, but only slightly, because last week we gave Kirsty Swan, who's one of our bloggers who came on to be a guest with me and Mark last week, the opportunity to choose who her points would go for as she predicted. Nathan, she chose you.
Thank you very much.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn it.
Thank you very much.
So her points have put you joint bottom with Mark, alphabetically. So you're bottom, Nathan, alphabetically, and Mark, you're just above him. So blame your dad for christening your name Nathan. So you should have got.
I'm sure I should go on. It normally goes on second name. I should be
No.
Come on, boys.
First name's only. Which obviously means I'm top. So I've got 594 points for me. Cammy's second on 414, and then Mark and Nathan both on 291 apiece. Let's very quickly run through your predictions. Then let's start off with Nathan. Of course, you're bottom of the table alphabetically. So I want your score, your goal scorers.
It's going to sound bad, but actually I don't fancy us Saturday.
Okay.
I think we're going to lose. I'm going to go 2-1 defeat.
Okay, with goal scorer.
Goal scorer will be Kane Hemmings.
Okay, so what I'm going to do this week as well is I'm going to get you to send me your team selections privately to mix it up a little bit and to add a bit of spice to it. So, Mark, your result and your goal scorers, please.
2-1 Stags.
Okay.
I think Angle and Anderson.
Cam.
I'm going to go opposite to Nathan, 2-1 Stags.
Okay.
And I think Rose and Hemmings.
I am going to go for a narrow 1-0 victory for us, and I'm going to go for Alfie Potter to kill on the score sheet once again. Right then, let's wrap things up with a connection question for this week. I asked you earlier on the podcast who were the goal scorers as Mansfield Town beat Carlisle on the final day of the 2001-2002 season to seal promotion to what is now known as League One. Cam, how many did you think you knew? None?
None.
Mark, you thought you knew?
One.
Nathan, you thought you knew?
1, potentially 2.
Okay, let's go for 1, potentially 2 then, Nathan.
One was Andy White.
Yes.
And I'm between 2 players now, and it might not be either of them. But
Just before you do, was Andy White the one you were thinking, Mark, or not? Okay.
No.
So, right, go for your between 2 players then, and we'll see whether Mark's in the same ballpark.
I don't know why, but I've got either Tom Curtis or Danny Bacon in my head. I don't know why.
Okay, Mark, was either of those 2 players in your head?
I had Danny Bacon in the head.
Okay, well you were both wrong. It was in the quiz earlier as
Wayne
well.
Corden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Wayne Corden and Andy White. Of course, I think Corners scored a tremendous volley. I seem to remember from a corner. I did out to him on the
Both
left.
from corners,
Yeah, they were. Yeah. Them were the days. Can't believe that's so long ago. So there you go. That wraps up the connection question for this weekend, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
What about the Ultimate 11?
The Ultimate 11. We're not doing the Ultimate 11 this week.
Alright.
We're mixing it up a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, switch on, Mark. Well, I mean, to be fair, it's probably up.
Who has been selected so far? Just
that is a good point. I'll tell you what, just for Nathan's sake, we'll go through that. I mean, I swapped the Ultimate 11 for the quiz.
Yeah.
I think the quiz was enjoyable. I thought you enjoyed the quiz.
He wants more. Come on.
Oh, he wants more. He just wants to be here all day, doesn't he? I mean, you've got a car to go and buy.
Come on, boys.
I've got a holiday to go on and a bed to go and sleep in for a bit. I mean, I'm off work for a bit, so I'm going to go back to bed. Right, obviously, so far, I've got to scroll back through the tweets now, because all I'm getting on the Mansfield Matters Twitter feed is a conversation between him and his missus. She said, sorry, Nate, she says, might not come and collect you later on, sorry, it's over. The last bit was a bit of a lie, but she's tweeted you and put, there's 2 hours ago, I don't know if you've seen it or not, I might not come then, you can't collect it.
It's just, we're having a bit of a tip on there about collecting the car, that's all. So,
please do these things in private, please. It's just ridiculous. So far, then, obviously in the Ultimate 11, we have got Alan Merritt in goal, and I think it's Alex Baptiste was voted at right back. This week we were voting for the first in the Ultimate 11 vote, which was the first centre-back. I'm just trying to find where the poll's gone. It's seemingly oh, there it is. The choices were Kevin Bird, John Dempster, Luke Jones and another, where we asked you to tweet us your comments. I can tell you at the moment the voting is still open for now. We'll put the winner, we'll announce the winner on Twitter later on in the week. At the moment another is on 13%, Luke Jones is on 37%, John Dempster is on 3% and Kevin Bird leads the way on 47%. The Ultimate 11 will return in a future podcast. We'll alternate between that and the quiz. Of course, we're looking for a centre-back in the next one. But that is it for this week's podcast. Thank you very much for joining us once again. We'll hopefully be back at the same time next week, but it might actually be in 2 weeks' time when we're back again. Mainly because the Tour of Britain is in Mansfield next Wednesday, so some of us are on a very long shift to sort that one out. So we'll try and sort something out. Hopefully we're back with you next week. If not, we'll see you the week after to catch up on all the latest going off from Mansfield Town FC. But thank you very much for joining us in what has been a really quiet and quite relaxing Berry Hill Park this week. My thanks to Cam Felton, my thanks to Mark Plum, and to Nathan Edge and his medal from me, Mark, Nathan and Cam. Thank you very much for listening. And a shout out to the Radfords as well. Thank you very much for your kind comments on Twitter, and to Mark as well. Yesterday at the game, really much do appreciate those. Keep sharing the podcast, keep tweeting us at MTFC Matters, get on facebook.com/MTFC Matters or email mtfcmatters@gmail.com to have your say on your team. Why? Well, because Mansfield matters. Goodbye.